Now, I will take some questions now. So, would anyone like to ask me a question? Yes, the lady at the back with the long hair. I had a nervous breakdown a long time ago. And since then, I feel pressure everywhere. I beg your pardon? If I want to do something, I turn it into pressure. Yes. Yes, I understand. Now, could I ask you a question? What is a nervous breakdown? I have never had one myself, so when people mention it, I don't know what it means. My body stopped doing what I wanted to do. Now, how do you know that your body wasn't the reality and that what you wanted to do was the unreality? How do you know that? Okay. The lady said her body stopped doing what she wanted to do. That suggests that what she wanted to do was the reality, that was the good. But I'm suggesting that a body in not doing what she wanted to do was the reality, that her body was the truth and her mind was the untruth. How do you know that? You put a useless, instead of doing what your body does, you try to do what your mind wants and the body won't follow. Does that make sense? Is that true? No, you've made the pressure because you're not doing what your body does. Now, what does your body want to do at work? Does it want to do anything? I don't think it did. I think it just do your work. I think your body will just do your work. Does it? Let's take the pressure. Let's get rid of the pressure because you've caused that. Doesn't your body go into the office every morning? What do you do? What do you do for a living? I do bookkeeping. I'm sorry, I also do what? I answer telephone calls and I open the door. You're a receptionist as well as a bookkeeper? Yeah, great. Now, this is how I'm a receptionist. We'll just see if you're a receptionist like this, because this is the truth of what you do, right? So, I walk into the office. I walk with my body into the office. I'm not thinking about anything. My body walks into the office. I go over to the coffee machine, of course, before I do anything. My body goes there and I pour the coffee because I haven't started, although it's 9 o'clock, I haven't started work yet because I'm still drinking the coffee. Of course, that's first. But then I go and sit at my desk and I look at what I have to do today. I look. I don't think about it, or I'd get pressure. If I look at what I've got to do, I find that I've got to do these books or that book and that book, or I already know what I've got to do, and I open that particular book or file, and I start working on it. My body's doing it, and because I haven't thought about it, I have no pressure. You work yourself up. You're not doing what your body does. Now, I can demonstrate this in every level of your life, that it is your mind that has worked up the pressure, and you've been taught spiritually you must do what your body does or you will get panic-stricken and have what is called a nervous breakdown, which is not the truth. There's no such thing as a nervous breakdown unless somebody cuts my vertebrae. No such thing. It's an invention to avoid the fact of what is causing the pressure, which is my thought process and my mind. My mind and my emotions. Now, this is not, lady, I am not diminishing the urgency or acuteness of the situation. I'm not diminishing it. But I am saying I do what my body does. Now, you're listening to me. You came here to listen to me because obviously you know that I speak the truth that sounds like the truth to you, right? I do what my body does. I do not think about the future, and I do not worry about the past. My body does not think about the future, and my body doesn't think about the past. My body is my intelligence. And we've lost contact with our intelligence, which is our body. So when we go into the office, what is the problem? You know, what's the problem? You see too much work. Now, this is a common problem. The lady says she sees too much work, and that, of course, causes a panic, a pressure inside of her, right? Now, let's have a look at what she does. In your experience, for God's sake, you're going to have this possibly from time to time in your life, and I want you to see what you're doing. I don't want you to be the slave of this ignorance of the human condition. What she does is, here's all the things she's got to do. Say there's 12 of them. Let's say there's 12, right? All the things she's got to do. And what she does is, instead of seeing them as they are, first thing first, instead of saying, look, what's the first thing first here? And it's always first thing first. Always. Always first things first, if only you can see past your emotions. Always. You can only do one thing at a time. For God's sake, have you ever tried to do two things at a time? I was cleaning my teeth yesterday, and I'm trying to get the top off some medicine or something there, and and Sarah said, "Are you trying to do two things at a time?" And I said, "Yes, I am. Look at the mess I'm making of it." There's always one thing at a time. Now, which thing will I do? I will do what my body does. I will clean my teeth first and open the medicine, or I will take the medicine first, and then I'll clean my teeth. But I will not make a decision. I will just let my body reach out for the toothbrush or the medicine. What's wrong with that? My body is my intelligence. I will not make choices or decisions unless I have to. Right. So what does the lady do with these 12 things? This is what we all do under pressure, which we make for ourselves. We turn the 12 things around like that. Now I'm looking at the first thing, the second thing, the third thing, the fourth thing, the fifth thing, the sixth thing, up to the 12 things all in a row, and the pressure is enormous. I just can't do all that. Do you understand me? This is very important, and we can laugh about it indeed, and I laugh about it with you, but you can see how serious it is, that what we do, we must not. When we are panic-stricken or under pressure, we must see that we're doing this. I have too much to do. You never, ever, 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 ever have too much to do. Now stop bullshitting. It's not true. You can only do one thing at a time, and you have to be sensible enough to pick the priorities, the first thing first. And then if your boss comes along and says, look, you're too slow. You have to say to your boss, if I'm too slow, I want you to know that I am doing my best. I cannot do any more than my best. So if it's not good enough for you, you'll just have to sack me. Now, I doubt whether anyone's going to do that, you see, because if you're doing your best, what else can you do? But if you're trying to do what the boss wants you to do, 3 things at once, you can't do it. You'll get yourself into a dreadful pressure. Right? So none of this, because it looks like then a telescope, everything around the wrong way. Oh, what I call concertinaing. Now you get the word, a concertina? They push it like this and it makes music, and you push it together and then you stretch it out. Now I call this human error concertinaing. Now are you concertinaing your work or all the things that you have to do? Are you concertinaing, or are you being intelligent and looking? What can I do? Sometimes you can't do things. What is appropriate? What is first things first? Now my teaching, one of the truths of it is first thing first, right? And that's the truth. Right. So no more concertinaing in your life. You can only do one thing at a time. Yes, lady? I also have a problem when what? When I'm on the telephone. And when I can't hear anymore. Yeah, they've got blockage in you. When I swallow, I can't swallow. I understand. Yeah. Now, on the telephone, because she's got to answer the telephone, being a receptionist, she gets blockages. And what the people are saying she can't translate it, you know. And of course, that's very difficult in such a situation. But that's an effect. That's also an effect of the pressure of the thought that she had a nervous breakdown. Now, something must have happened to you. I'm not saying it didn't happen to you, but it certainly was not a nervous breakdown, because you are a sensory creature, and you can see, and you can hear, and you can taste, and you can touch, feel, and you have a sense of balance, and you have senses, many, many senses, and they're the things that are operating truthfully. Nothing else. Now, I'm going to ask you an important question in this whole discussion that we're having. It's not a discussion, it's sort of an investigation, isn't it? To endeavour to discover the truth for you in your experience. I'm going to ask the lady a very important question. What was the devastating or traumatic event that happened within 6 months or 3 months or 3 weeks of your having the nervous breakdown? Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. Something happened. It was either a broken love affair, a man broke your heart, or somebody died, somebody left you. Something of that nature happened within 6 months or 3 weeks or 3 months of this event, this thing. What was it? You're listening to me, everybody. Are you listening to me? Really listening to me? Because I'm talking about you. Yes, I'm sorry. I want people at work to like me. That, yes. No, that's an effect. And your blockage that you get on the phone where you can't interpret what the people are saying is due to the fact that you have not seen, you are hiding from yourself, concealing from yourself what the event was that caused you to have a nervous breakdown. What was the event? And it is a very deeply penetrating emotional event, probably connected with sex or love. Now, the human mind does not like to look at such fundamental causes. It always likes to look at effects, the effects of causes. And so it goes from effect to effect. I've had a nervous breakdown, that's an effect of something. I can't answer the phone because I get blockages, that's an effect. And whatever the lady has said, they're all effects. I want her to see the cause. And the mind, which only likes effects, it doesn't like to get the causes. I want her to be able to see what the cause of this was, and I've already said, you heard me, it will be something to do with sexual experience or love. Something intense as that, because they're the most intense things in our lives. And they are the thing that the mind can't handle and often blocks itself off. So when she gets on the phone, because it's in charge, this idea that all these effects are together, the idea of this pressure and everything, and she gets a blockage on the phone. Now that's an effect, but it's an effect of the cause. So has the lady, I'm just staying with you because it's a very good question, and I do understand what you're saying, and I'm not in any way being critical. Do you know that? Yes, good. And, so I ask you, have you seen anything at this moment? Yes. You left many of your friends? I left many of my friends. Why did you leave many of your friends? Yeah, their friendship, which earlier you'd enjoyed, you started to not enjoy. Right? How old were you then? 22, something, right? Now that's a distinct part of spiritual life, see? The old friends that I made and I enjoyed so much, I no longer enjoy, because the reality is that I've moved beyond such superficial satisfaction as that friendship into something deeper in myself that's looking for something, or that knows something deeper than what these friends could give me. Is that right? Good. That's a classical spiritual experience, right? So far we've got a classical spiritual experience, which suggests that's behind also why you're here. You're here for spiritual because you're spiritually motivated. And it's wonderful, isn't it, that such a spiritual experience would have happened so at that age. Right? Now, how old were you when you had the nervous breakdown? 25. 25. Now, are you sure you can't see a sexual or love situation, event, that caused this? Pardon? I left those friends. Did that include a lover? No lover in those friends, amongst those friends? Nothing, no one in particular. So we've just got about 12 months there in which suddenly, for some reason, because you were lonely, righto, because you were lonely, because you weren't being loved. Were you being loved by a man at that time? A short relationship. I see. Is that in the 12 months between when you left your children and when you had the nervous breakdown? Left your friends, sorry, and had the nervous breakdown? And was that an intense relationship with that man? No, not really. And what about the one after? Was there another one? It wasn't really a relationship. Pardon? Not deep enough for you. So neither of those was deep enough for you. Yeah. Righto. Well, always trying to get to the cause. And the mind does not want to find it, and so it's likely to hide there. I suggest, and I know the lady will keep looking, that something happened of a deep, touching her deeply. Otherwise, she has to face the fact that she is living the spiritual life. Now, you haven't faced the fact that you are living the spiritual life. There's no choices in the spiritual life. It's all done by the Spirit. But we like to have choices and to think about this and think about that. But there's no choice in the spiritual life. And so the fact that you changed from your friends there, to me, is an indication that you had a deepening perception in the spiritual life. And so the Spirit takes you away from your friends. Right? It takes you away. Then you have a lonely reaction to that, and because you have not been with me, who's someone who's going to tell you the truth of how human nature works. But I would say to you, then you are cast into a place of loneliness because of what you've left, forgetting that this was a spiritual experience. So how can you, that's the thing, is to say, well, my friends have all changed and I have no place for them now. So I can't get lonely because I know that this is being done for me. I must try not to get lonely. I must try to realize that God is actually guiding my life. And this applies to all of you. You've got to start looking, instead of looking at the negative, you've got to see the positive side of the spiritual life. And it does take our friends from us. It will take your lover from you. It'll do anything to change your direction, to strip you of your old habits and your old expectations. It will do that and has done that to all of you. And is continuing to do it and will continue to do it. For it has no mercy. It is just beautiful, when you get through it and you see the great justice of it. So I'm talking about this lady to demonstrate in your experience the things that have happened to you. Now, the pressure of not realizing that you are living a spiritual life. Now, under the pressures like that, the great loneliness, nobody to love you really, endeavouring to love two men, and it's not deep enough for you because you're a woman, a spiritual woman, and you need to be truly loved and penetrated to the very bottom of you. That's what you need, a love like that. And it could come from any man who might not stay because he might not be spiritually consolidated in himself enough, but he can give you a penetration and a beauty which just reaches you. And when he goes, which he's likely to do, you must not think about him, because it is God that has come to open you up in some way or other. And then he is gone, and you love him because he reached you. Now, that can happen, but it can't happen to you really while you're forgetting the spiritual life, when you get lonely because your friends have taken and there's nobody to love you, and you've tried to love and it didn't work. Because you must not try to love, you must wait for love, and it will come to you, because God, the Spirit, will look after that. And you are a woman, and you need to be loved. So, fundamentally, you have not been facing the truth of your life. Now, it doesn't matter if it sounds arrogant or anything, you are in the midst of the spiritual life. Imagine how I felt at the age of 9 and 11 of my two natural children, the boy aged 9 and the girl aged 11, I left them. And although I wouldn't expect anyone to believe it, it was the Spirit, and I would never say this except to you people who are here to demonstrate a point. It was the Spirit that made me leave. I had to leave them. I had to leave the family life. I had to. And although it caused great pain in me, because I still had feelings about my children and my wife, I had to leave them in circumstances that were that I was not able to in any way take any satisfaction in. But I left them. Now that was because I had outgrown that part of my life, even though the children were 9 and 11. Now, let's look at the Spirit. Had I stayed with my wife and my children and been a good family man, would I be talking to all my children, thousands of them all around the world, now? No, you see. And since then, I've had 5 sort of lives. I've had 5 lives, you can say. You all have 5 sort of lives in the one life, 5 phases of life. And the Spirit does this. And the more that you realize you are living a spiritual life, haven't got your spiritual life over there and your life here. For God's sake, that's how we live it, you are a spiritual woman. It's being done for you. And it was the pressure of the Spirit in you that made you just give up, because you couldn't get it together, your body and your mind's expectations. Now, you've got to know from me, and I'm just talking to you, but I am talking to everybody, that your body is far more intelligent than your mind, if you only do what it does. I only do what my body does. I do what I do. What about the swallowing as an effect? And that's due to, let's get back to the teaching. So all this nervous tension and everything, this ball of past, of fear and everything is in your stomach. And then it rises up to the chest, if it can get up there. And that's where a sort of panic starts, because of the pressure. And then it gets up to the throat. And I can't swallow because of the pressure. But it's not a real pressure. I have to learn how to drop this tension to my stomach, down. I have to give it nothing to hold on to. You're listening. I have to give this pressure nothing to hold on to. And that way, it has to gradually recede. And I must not try to swallow. The error is in trying to swallow. What I must do is give up trying to swallow. Although the mind and pressure will make me try to swallow, I must not try to swallow. I must leave it to my body to swallow. No, not just yet, please. And you will notice that under great emotional stress, such as when you've got a broken heart or somebody's died, you often get a lump in the throat that is very, very uncomfortable. Same thing. You must. In my first meditation book, Meditation, a Foundation course, I think it's in there, that I talk about how to drop the pressure, the self which climbs up here, down to the stomach, giving it nothing to hold on to. No thought. I must not take any thought about my situation. If I do, I feed it, and I keep it there. And it keeps coming whenever the slightest anxiety rises in me. It keeps coming. Now, give up. Give up. All right? Okay then. So, I would like you, if you are moved to, at the end of the meeting, if you stand over there and see Sarah, I will speak to you. Okay? Right. So that allowed me to speak about many things, didn't it? Many common things that we accept as and brush under the carpets and hide. Nothing can be hidden. Everything has a cause. Everything has a cause. And the mind and emotions deal only in effects. So you must look into your life for the cause. If you have pain in your stomach, an emotional pain, emotions, then there's a cause in your life. And that's what we'll be going into tomorrow. We don't have time to go into it fully today. But it is to be intelligent enough to look and see, I have a problem in my life. Now, are you listening to me, please? Because we're deep into self-knowledge here. If you have a problem in your life, you are going to be emotional from time to time about that problem. And if you are emotional from time to time, you can be manipulated by anyone who is aware of your problem. They've only got to mention it, and you will get emotional, and you will not be able to see straight. So you can be manipulated by your own self, which will keep thinking about the problem, but not necessarily doing anything about it that is effective. Now, in my teaching, it says if you have a problem, what are you doing about it? Because your problem is a cause of your unhappiness. Now, the mind does not want to get to the cause of the problem. It wants to deal with the effects of the problem. I'm so unhappy. I don't want to ever see him again. I don't want to see her again. All these effects. But what was the cause? So what's the cause? If you've got a problem in your life, that's a sure place of a fountain of emotion that's coming out of that, because you are not facing the fact of the problem. Now, did you hear me? You can't have a problem and say, well, it's just there. It's because you are not facing the fact of what's causing the problem. Now, I trust you're all looking at what the problem is in your life. It usually involves a man or a partner, a woman, or a mother, or a father, or children. All children are a problem, so it's not really, they're a problem. So it's not really a good one, that. As you endeavour to bring them up as best you can, and of course they've got the resistance in this matter, this body is made of matter, come out of the earth, and minerals and plant life and everything. It's got everything in it of the earth and of life before it. But it is matter, came out of the rocks and stones and was once as heavy as that. And it's had to, the metal in us has had to be freed up by, let's say, 1 million years of evolutionary development to break up this terrible, rigid structure of wood in us and metal in us and hardness in us. 1 million years of evolution alone, that is life repeating itself, breaking up what we are until we evolved to where we are with the human form and its ability to do everything that it does. So, but we are still made of matter. And in this matter are two things. One is resistance to anything that is true or real, because matter is not true or real, so it will always resist anything that is true and real. That's the first thing. And because this matter has developed into where we are animals, the matter has developed into a material animal with self-reflective capability given by the spirit, which other animals don't have. We have a deep sexual base in us, because the animals are all tremendously sexual, but it's all in the right place and at the right time. Because we have a reflective ability which allows us to think about sexual experience, which the animal doesn't have to do, we excite ourselves sexually. And so this deep sexual nature which is in the animal gets degraded and becomes sex, not pure sex. Pure sex is what's in the animal. Pure sex is what is in me. But sex is what comes through my emotional self, and it gets satisfaction from thinking about it and from getting excited about it and from making love sexually instead of with my whole body. Because sexual love has always got only one or two things as making love. Usually it's only the penis that's making love with a man. And really, you can only make love with your whole body. And so the penis is a violent instrument of sex, and it makes everybody unhappy, including the man, despite his temporary satisfaction, because it's not whole. The penis is the brain of the body, becomes the brain of the body, because man only thinks about his penis and what he's going to do with it. And of course that becomes the brain, so the penis runs the body, as it were. And the idea of it all is to make the penis just a part of the body, like the arm, like the hand. Now, if I'm digging for something very important in the sand or making something for the children and very important with my hand, then my focus is on my hand and its activity, indeed. But as soon as I stop digging in the sand and pleasing the children there, my hand disappears back into my body and becomes a part of my body. Not my penis, not if it's sexual. It's always getting erections when there's no need to, gets erection in the morning when there's no need to, gets erection at any time in the day. It'll just come up, and a woman can't sit on your knee because she suddenly says, uh-uh. Well, am I making this up? Because the penis is my brain. And what I got to do is put the penis back to what it is. It's a beautiful appendage. It's a place of love and truth, but it's a part of my body. And my body is the cause of my penis, the whole body, and the cause of love. So I got to get the focus off the penis and get it onto love, and that's what it does. Get it onto the whole body. I was talking about, thank you, Neil. I was talking about something, no, I forget what I was talking about. Someone else have a question.